I, 44F, broke up with my boyfriend, 31M, for crossing my boundary against his word. I'm not really here for advice as much as I want to confirm that I did the right thing. I am proud of myself even though I am grieving and have been an emotional mess for 6 weeks. My, now ex-boyfriend smokes weed for anxiety daily, more than I am comfortable with. I didn't know how much until a few months and of course. Why am I uncomfortable with it? I'm not exactly sure. He's very functional but I think he seems just a bit disconnected sometimes because of it. Later upon reflection, when it was too late, I realized it was also due to my custody battle. When we started to fall for each other, I realized we were headed to a serious place and so I told him 2 months into our relationship that if he wanted to be a part of my and my kids' lives, he couldn't be high around my kids or have his paraphernalia around when they are around. I told him if that was something that he felt was not a fair ask then we should stop where we were, and try to be friends or go our separate ways. He replied by telling me that he wanted a relationship and to be in my kids in my life, and that he would be sober when he was with us. Fast forward a few months, and he was never really sober with us, he would just smoke beforehand. He's fully functional which was why I was torn. So I broke up with him. I didn't do it in a great way, because I did it over text. I know that really hurt him and kinda blind-sided him. I should have spoken to him about it in person. I readily admit that. I told him before that it was my one deal-breaker, and he didn't keep his word. I should have told him at the start that it would always be a deal-breaker because my ex tried to make it look like I was a weed addict and an unfit mother during our custody battle when I rarely ever partake. He said that I should have told him that to begin with and he's right. But I felt if it was important to me, it should have been to him. It hurts so badly because I really had fallen in love with him and supposedly he had with me. The kids liked him and he would tell me that he loved being with us and it made him so happy. He said we made him a better person and gave him more purpose. I don't know if it was all just lip service. He even said he would love to be a full or part-time stay-at-home partner and help with the kids, pack their lunches and go to all their sporting events, clean the house, he's super clean, and do yard work. I always wanted that, to be honest. It breaks my heart because he really liked being with my kids and they liked him. He was so good with them, present and engaged, the opposite of their father. When I talked to him on the phone after a few weeks of being broken up, hoping we could work it out or figure it out, he said that he didn't have the energy to keep up with my family. Which is what my oldest daughter always said. He said he was done, he has a lot to work on and I will find someone better. Maybe he doesn't want to get hurt again. I think he's just not able to step up because that means he has to sacrifice something of himself, but I also don't know what it's like to have severe anxiety. I know he's sad because though I've gone no contact, I can see his Spotify, we shared some playlists, and he's been listening to only country music for days since we spoke. I did the right thing, right? I never learned what boundaries were or that you could set them until just this year. My needs just didn't matter much growing up and I didn't learn to articulate them, so I'm learning just now. I'm through putting up with men who have no integrity. Be a man of your word, or woman, it's a basic standard we should all live by. Update. It seems to me after reading all of the comments that everyone has a different perspective on this. There are valid points on both sides, and it doesn't seem like there is one obvious answer to the whole scenario except that we sure could have communicated better as a whole. I think I just have to accept that there was a heart-to-heart and soul-to-soul connection, but lifestyle factors were prohibitive. I'll forever be grateful for our connection, love and good times. I think you were fine to have a boundary and stick to it. That is your right, whether it was the correct decision is up to you. However, I do think you seem pretty toxic and this guy dodged a bullet. He said that I should have told him that to begin with and he's right, but I felt if it was important to me, it should have been to him. I think he's just not able to step into being a real man. So you expected him to read your mind to see how important it was to you without explaining it, and you when he didn't do what you wanted, he's suddenly, not a real man. Kindly, do this man a favor and leave him alone. Yeah, you did the right thing. Stepping over such a clear boundary always has to be followed by consequences. The consequence for him not staying true to his word was you ending the relationship. You protected your children from him and the influence of his drugs. You got together with a man 13 years younger than you, in a very different place with his life than you, and you are surprised it didn't work out? For all the talks of what a real man does or doesn't do, a real woman doesn't introduce her children to a boyfriend she's only dated for a month or two. That's what teenagers do. The age gap is significant here too. Brutal honesty. He's done. Because he talked with friends and family and they opened his eyes that dating a single mom of 3 that is 13 years older than you as a man is strange. And you want to change him? Not worth it. And what did you sacrifice for his love, as you are demanding he does for you? You know, to be a real woman like you want him to be a real man? I'm through putting up with men who have no integrity. Be a man of your word, it's a basic standard we should have. Maybe he is through putting up with women who demand their partners to change. Be accepting of who people are, it is a basic standard we should have. Am I, 42F, wrong for thinking my husband, 47M, is spoiling his 20F daughter? It's his daughter from a previous marriage. No mama drama or anything like that. My birthday is today. He said that tonight we're going to have a small family cookout with steaks. So we are at the store and he's picking out ribeye. Then he says he's looking for filet. I'm excited. BC, filet. I ask why, because he's already chosen ribeyes and they're in the cart. The filet is for his oldest daughter because that's her preference. No shit. Most people love filet. I know. Point 1 Stone World problems. There are a lot of other similar examples of how he spoils her, but I keep it all to myself. I have kids and I get wanting to do things for them. I try to think about how it must feel to be a parent of a child who is living out of the home. I know it can't be easy letting go like that. She is just so entitled. A few examples. She expects him to box her food when we go out to eat. She celebrated her BF's B-Day by going on vacation with him on his dime and literally said, "My presence is his present." She didn't do anything for Hub's birthday either. On vacation we bring this kinda hard to get browning lotion, and his youngest had it and mentioned we were almost out, and his oldest said, "Oh, then I've got to get the rest of that." The other day she came in the house and I was sitting at the island scrolling my phone, drink in hand. I got up to use the restroom and when I came out she was posted up right where I was sitting. I just said, "Let me get my stuff out of your way," and moved my things. She didn't even look up. His parents gave his youngest $500 to go summer clothes shopping. The oldest took her out and the kid came back with like 3 outfits. No mention of money left or another trip from her or her dad. We have a blended family and he's not like that with his youngest daughter or my 2 littles that all 3 live with us. Quite the opposite. I love that he values teaching them responsibility and independence. It's one of the things I find attractive about him. That value I enjoy is sometimes delivered to them in a not-so-nice way. That's where I come in, I guess. To soften his delivery, which is often very harsh. He never speaks to her like he does them. So this exception he makes for her is really weird and off-putting to me. I find myself getting defensive over his youngest because of the difference in the way they're treated and losing a little respect for him. She is very matter-of-fact about using her pretty privilege to get her way. He would never put up with that from the younger 3. Why does he enable that in her? She'd be stronger if she had to solve an issue herself or realize that her actions have consequences. Like a week ago when she mouthed off in a parking garage to somebody with a beater car and no plates and they scraped the side of her Lexus. I don't feel like I can talk to him about this. She can do no wrong, and the one time I suggested anything close to tough love, he lashed out like I had killed his puppy. I merely suggested that maybe she find a way to get her own car fixed after the road rage incident above. TLDR. Husband gets ribeye for everybody for my birthday. Except his oldest daughter that gets filet for my birthday. If you asked for a filet, would you get one? He had this daughter and this relationship with her when you met him. Why is this an issue now? The examples you gave, you honestly just sound jealous. Did you ask for filet? That's his daughter, so yeah. He knows her preference and got her what she wanted, loudly crying. If your husband truly favors his oldest over his youngest, then that's a different convo. But your too long did not read. Is low-key ridiculous. It reads like you really dislike this girl. The things you are mentioning are only things that would bother you if you didn't like her. You have to go out of your way to make her look bad. She took your spot at the island, ask her to move. Kindly, by the way. Say that is where you were standing. Always assume ignorance instead of malice. She didn't know you were coming back or didn't think about it or didn't care. Ask your husband to buy you filet. Maybe there is more going on and your husband is a bad dad. But it sounds to me like you dislike your stepdaughter so much you'll find fault with literally anything she does. Like sitting in a place you sat recently. Rein it in. She celebrated her BF's B-Day by going on vacation with him on his dime and literally said, "My presence is his present." She is very matter-of-fact about using her pretty privilege to get her way. This here just screams jealousy. Listen, the filet story. Just drop it already. It's normal to get some groceries for a kid. No big deal. And let her get spoiled by her boyfriend, good for her. Nacho business. But I suspect the oldest daughter is the apple of his eye, the golden child. And it's starting to get under your skin. That is what needs to be resolved, before you build up any more resentment towards her and him. What does your husband say when you ask him why he treats the oldest like a golden child? His other kids will definitely notice when they get older. 28F. Found a topless picture on my husband's, 33M, phone from a female friend. I've never had a reason to go through my husband's phone in the almost 10 years that we've been together. He's always been one to hand over his phone for anything that I would need it for, like a quick photo, phone call or Google search. Lately, I've had my suspicions, even though I could never put my finger on what was bothering me. He seemed to be staying out later, staying the bathroom longer, becoming less talkative with me, etc. He had came home from golf around 9 p.m. the other day and went straight to bed. About an hour later, I got on his phone and opened his recently deleted texts after looking through all of his apps. And there it was. A topless photo from a woman that I recognize as being Kelsey, from back in high school, along with a highly sexual text thread. I took screenshots of everything and sent them to myself. Kelsey was someone that has been in the same friend group as him forever. I've met her several times at the golf course, the local bars, and friends' houses. She's also married with 3 small kids. I confronted him the next morning. I just flat out said, "Nice picture on your phone." He acted like I imagined he would. His mouth dropped open and he kind of smirked for a second. Because I'm so angry, I'm paraphrasing a little bit. He said, "Look, she's going through a divorce. I didn't ask for the picture. She just sent it and everything got out of control. It won't happen again, and I'm going to block her. I saw her at the golf course tonight, and she played with my group." That's perfect. They see each other at the course, play golf together in groups, get drunk at the bar, and then exchange sexual texts all night. However, their text thread actually does back this up. They started out having a normal conversation, and then she randomly sends him the picture and asks if he wants more. He said that was good, and how she looks great. I don't think I would be as mad if this was a random person, but Kelsey has been around our family and children for years. I didn't know she was going through a divorce, as she kept it pretty under wraps. He seems very apologetic and ashamed, especially seeing me so upset. I blocked her for him, but I don't know if that will help anything or make it worse. I still can't get the pictures and the texts out of my head. I thought about contacting her myself, although I don't want to draw any more attention to this. Should I confront Kelsey or just let it go? How do I move on from this? Too long did not read. I found a topless photo on my husband's phone from a longtime female friend going through a divorce. I confronted him, and he seems to be remorseful. I don't know if I should talk to the other woman about this or ignore it. I'd tell the other women in the friends group about her sending boob pics to married men along with sexual texts. He cheated on you and is acting remorseful and ashamed cause he got caught red-handed. Just text her the same thing, "Nice tits K, really classy," and see what she comes back with. You have had your suspicions for a while, so this picture is just what you have found and the latest. Your husband needs to tell you what's been going on, and I do think you need to confront her. Call her out. Let other wives know what she does for married men. She's a poss. Edit. Oh, and your husband sucks. Kick him out for a while. Talk to a few lawyers and get a STD check. Am I, 25F, in the wrong for how I reacted to my boyfriend's, 26M, dad's, 61M, joke? I, 25 female, recently went on vacation with my boyfriend, 26 male, dating for a year, and his dad, 61 male. To be clear, this was a vacation my boyfriend and I planned, and invited his dad to come with us. It involved RV camping near a national park. One day we were driving down to see another site around 2 hours away. It was a nice day, so my boyfriend, driving, and his dad, backseat passenger side, had their windows down. The dad asked why I didn't have my window, front seat passenger, down. There was a spider on it, and I didn't want it coming in. I have mild arachnophobia, which I told him. Shortly after, his dad grabs my shoulders from behind and shouts in my ear, trying to scare me as if a spider had gotten onto me. My initial reaction was panic. Almost immediately, I turned out of his grip and screamed and swore at him that it wasn't funny and he needed to keep his hands off me. This was very brief, about 15 seconds. My boyfriend also told his dad off. His dad then sulked the rest of the day, staying away from us and hardly saying a word. For context, I had such a negative reaction due to a time in college where I was followed back to my apartment and grabbed from behind. Even today, getting touched from behind triggers my fight or flight. Usually I manage okay in most situations, but tempers were already running a little high and it tipped towards fight. In hindsight, I feel like I overreacted. Neither my boyfriend or his dad knew about my past experience at the time. In the aftermath, his dad informed us the next morning that he was leaving almost immediately and going back home. This was a day ahead of schedule and he had all the food because he had offered to buy everything if we cooked. We had a park reservation for early that day, and had no time to gather any food from him before we had to leave to make our reservation. Upon arrival back home, my boyfriend and his dad had a fight about it. I was not given any details, I think to spare my feelings, but they were both extremely upset. I was asked to apologize to his dad. I explained my backstory for my reaction and then my boyfriend said I didn't owe him an apology anymore. He gave his dad a condensed version and his dad still insists I owe him an apology because it's not his fault I can't take a joke. Now I have no idea what to do because I don't want to see him if I can't trust that he won't try to scare me again, but I also don't want to cause a rift in their relationship. I don't want to have a bad relationship with my in-law this early on. Any advice would be appreciated, thanks. Too long did not read. Had a trauma-induced negative response to BF's dad scaring me. He left us without any food with 2 days left of vacation. Do I owe him an apology because I can't take a joke? Jokes are only funny if everybody is laughing. Dude, I hate being grabbed from behind and I don't even have the trauma you do. A friend of mine had a habit of doing that and I kept asking him to stop. Till one day I turned around and screamed my head off at him. Even his wife thought I was justified because nobody except for him found scaring me out of my wits funny. You didn't overreact. You simply reacted. If he didn't want to be yelled at, he shouldn't have grabbed you and yelled first. Moron. You sure his dad is 61 and not 6? Why did your boyfriend ask you to apologize to him then immediately say you don't owe him an apology? I was asked to apologize to his dad. Fuck that. Do not apologize when you're not wrong.